Hello and welcome to another episode of Android Dev 101. Today we're going to go over a basic framework for making your own Android touch game. Alright, to get started off, obviously we have our Clips project. This project will hopefully become a future game in the Android market, but we'll see. In the meantime, we're just going to go over some of the basics we put down to start our game. So let's start off with the activities. We have a menu and splash activity, which we've covered most of the stuff there in previous episodes. The main meat of it's going to be our game board activity, which, as you can see, is pretty empty. Why is it pretty empty? Because all the heavy lifting is going to actually be done in other classes and other parts of our code. So as you can see on our create, we set our content view, start, do nothing. Obviously, if you want to add menus and other things to this activity, you can add it here. But for this basic framework, we don't really need to do much. And as you see, we're using the XML game board as our view. So let's open that up. Again, pretty plain. We have a relative layout and some kind of component. So let's take a look in the graphical layout. As you see, when you use custom classes, it usually just marks the area. See the blue lines marking the area, very nice, and gives the name of the class, game board view. So let's double click, get back to that. And this is how you list a custom class. So as you see, I'm listing the full package here, com android dev 101.nd.views, and then the name of the class itself. So this is the package dot name of the class. It's going to take up the whole screen. And let's get to that class. So if you open up our package for views and open up game board view, we see game board view extends surface view. This is taken a little bit from the Google examples for JetBoy. They have a previous game as well, which they have on their website, the full code. It's really great. Highly recommend checking it out, and to show how they've created these touch games. So they also use surface view, and we're going to use a callback, surface folder callback, to know when to implement our threads. I believe that's what they use as well. We have some basic context for the game. Our tag, which should have seen in previous episodes, allows us to log events and easily access them through logcat by this tag, which the tag is simply the class name. It is how we roll. So let's get to the constructors. Very simple. These are the main constructors for our surface view. There's one that simply gets context and attributes. I believe this is the one called from an XML. So since we're simply doing set content view and then the XML, I believe the XML from here should call, I believe it's this constructor. Oh, sorry, I believe it's this constructor. So if this constructor is missing, or whatever constructor the XML uses, the code will fail. Even though you have a constructor, the XML, it knows a certain constructor, it doesn't like other constructors, it's not very friendly, it will crash your whole system and throw paintballs at you. So the constructor is very basic. We call the super for surface view, give it all the meat and potatoes, and then we call something called init. Init's our own function, which we're going to grab the surface view and we're going to add callback. Now what this does is, because our surface view implements a surface holder callback, when certain events happen, it's going to let us know. It's going to say, hey buddy, you got this stuff going on, you need to take care of some stuff. So let's see what functions we get. So we get surface changed, we get surface destroyed, this is a more important one, and surface created. Surface change we don't really need to do much, so at least right now we're going to leave that alone. Now when surface is created, our game is started. You know, the surface view is ready, we're ready to go, so we start running our thread. We call a simple function to tell the thread, hey, get your act together, and then we start the thread. This is a function of threads in Java. Now when the surface is destroyed, same kind of thing. We tell the thread, hey, you're done, get out of here, and then we try to join it. This should kill the thread. Okay, so let's get back up to our init. So as you see, you know, we've added this callback so all the business can get taken care of, and then we create our thread. Okay, and we give it a holder, and we give it the context for any time later when I might need those things. So let's get to our thread. This is a custom thread, game thread. This we created for the game. It extends regular, you know, Java Android thread, and we give it the holder and context in its constructor, and then we tell and then you know, we just add this for right now to tell it that, you know, the game is running. This can later on be added to an event-based thing. You know, if the game is paused or the game is stopped or over, you can add your variables here. Not really too exciting. Not too much exciting in the in any of the other things. We have you see a list of objects here. That's the list of all the objects on the kind of game board, all your sprites or all your events that you need to take care of. In this, it's just a drawable circle for this this basic framework, the basic demo. As you see, our run loop. Okay, so when we call the start for our thread, it's going to call this run. While running, this is the boolean that we set to tell the thread what it's supposed to be doing. It grabs the canvas, it synchronizes the holder so no one else can access it. This part of code here, we say if we're in normal running mode, then update all the objects, which we don't really do because this again is a basic template and not sure what you might want to do here, so it's blank. But here's where you tell each one of your objects, okay, if you're supposed to move, now's the time to move, change your coordinates, your basic game development, and then we draw everything. Okay, so for the drawing, you see we grab the size of the array, and then we iterate over the whole array. We give each circle the canvas that we grabbed earlier, and we say draw yourself. This is one method to do it. Some people prefer that actually the individual objects can't draw themselves because we're giving them a lot of power here. We're saying here's the whole canvas. They could destroy the whole thing. They could mess up other people's drawings. They could draw over things. This is the method I prefer, that we kind of trust in all these classes created for us, and we assume that they're going to do the right thing. Another way you could do it is, in this do draw, you could go over each object, see what the object is, and then just draw it yourself here. Say, if you just wanted simple JPEGs, you could, find out what the object is, and then draw its JPEG from here. Therefore, not giving your objects, the sprites or whatever they may be, the ability to draw themselves. I like saying, I trust you. We go back. You can draw yourself. If you mess anything up, we're all gone, but that's okay. Okay, so we have this array of circles, which we didn't talk about where it came from. And every iteration of the thread, every time we pass through this while loop, we tell the circles, draw yourselves. Okay, but where do the circles come from? Okay, we didn't do an update, right? We didn't do it in onDraw. We didn't do it in constructors anywhere, right? Okay, now that, we'll go down a little bit more. We're back in the surface view now. We're out of the thread. Here's the definition of the thread. Let's minimize this so it won't confuse us. Okay, so these are all the functions of the surface view. We had our service change, we saw service destroyed from the callback. Then we have on touch event. Okay, this you can add to any surface view. We want to say on a touch event, we want to when the user touches the screen, we want to do something. What are we going to do? I don't care. Just tell this game thread someone touched something and it'll take care of it. Now this is again a sort of trusting the minor classes to take care of things. And also assuming that the service view itself doesn't need to know about the touch events. It gives it to the thread and says, thread, this is all you take care of it. And in the thread, you'll see whenever we get a touch event, any kind, we create a circle. We grab the X, we grab the Y, we add a circle, new circle, to the circles array, and we're done. Now in your game, you're probably not going to want to do this for every touch event. You're probably going to grab only certain touch events like the touch down or the touch up. You can do a little research and find out more about them, or maybe you only want to use swipes or those kind of things. You can decipher the events here. I don't remember exactly all the types of events you can get the type from the motion event class. But for this example, we're just going to create on every touch event. We're going to create a circle. Alright, so that's a basic code. Once again, this is just a surface view. This surface view does everything. We're not doing anything in the activity. We're not doing really anything in the XML. Just we have this surface view. We tell the activity to load the surface view, and then once it's loaded, it starts all the magic. So let's take a look on the emulator. So I already have it loaded. This is a little intro screen I demoed. So let's defend. As you notice, I did this in portrait. So let's just fix it. And that's just because that's how I'm designing the game. This would all still work completely in oh, I'm sorry. This is landscape, and this would all still work in portrait mode, any mode you want. I just want to have this kind of screen realty for what I want to design. Okay, so we have nothingness. Nothingness is kind of boring. This is kind of lame. What happened? So what happened was we were in our menu activity. It got called the game board activity. Game board activity loaded the XML, and then our service view should be running. So if I click, plop, you see a little circle is created. So what happened there was the touch event was called, it created a circle, and we're in this loop right here. We're in this infinite loop of things being created. So each time I touch something, these circles are created, and